Amy from Mummy Mojo, and today I'm going to cook one of the soups out of my 30-day Mojo Detox book. And this one's actually Brady's famous veggie soup. So it's actually my husband's soup, and it's evolved and adapted over the years. But it's a soup that we've been making a lot while we've been in our ISO life. A lot has changed with the coronavirus, and many of us are stuck at home. We're also getting into the winter months here in Australia, but despite that, a veggie soup is a wonderful meal to have because it's packed to the brim, full of antioxidants, minerals, vitamins, fibre, probiotics, prebiotics. It's fantastic for the gut and for your immunity. And we add a few little extra herbs and things like that to keep your immune system really strong. So it's going to show you some of the ingredients that we use, and you can adapt these depending on what you have in your own home. Just choose the veggies that you love, but it is important as a base, and a base of a veggie soup is always going to have some celery. Oh, celery is just amazing for your health, really good for warding off viruses too, so wonderful to have during this time. You've got some carrots, which are also great for the immunity, packed to the brim with beta carotene and vitamin A, and they add a really nice sweetness. And you've also got onions, which are also a fantastic food for the immune system and great for digestion as well. And then you combine those as your starter, the base of the soup, with the wonderful garlic. Now, I give tips to my clients when they're sick and when it's flu season to actually eat garlic raw, but it obviously adds a really great flavor to a veggie soup and will help keep your immune system strong. So that's the base there, and you'll cook that in some olive oil, and we use grass-fed butter. So if you've got those for your base, that's a wonderful start. And then you can just add from there. So today, we're just using the veggies that we have here at home, and it does change. We've got some cauliflower, got some leek, maybe add that in the beginning, and then some sweet potato. We would also add in some tomato, and when we have it, we add zucchini and green beans and other veggies like that. Depends if you want to make it more Mediterranean or make it a bit of a thicker, more chunky soup. Potato you can add as well, but potato isn't as wonderful for the immune system as your sweet potato. So this is a better option, particularly if you're wanting to keep healthy and maybe lose a little bit of weight. And we add in different spices, and I adore turmeric, and turmeric is very anti-inflammatory, anti-medicinal, antimicrobial, and is a great one to add into an immune boosting veggie soup. So adding in some turmeric, not too much, but it makes it go yellow. We've got some oregano here, which is also a very healthy supporting herb, basil from the garden. You've got your salt and pepper for seasoning, and we would tend to add in quite a few herbs, but because we're sort of waiting for our box of veggies to arrive, we're actually going to add in some essential oils. So we've got some thyme and some basil there, and you just need sort of a drop of those. But whatever herbs you have, just add them in. Your thyme, your basil, things like that are fantastic. And then I've also got some nutritional flakes, which add a lot of B vitamins, which can keep your immune system sort of healthy and strong. Stock. So you can just get your stock from your shop, but I make up a stock, as you can see here, I label it, and this goes in the fridge, and we just add this to your hot water. And then to keep yourself full, or for kids who want to eat a little bit more, we've got a teenage boy, we've got sourdough, which you can dip in at the end, or if you like, you can add sort of lentils or chickpeas as well. You can even crisp up some chickpeas in a saucepan and add those on top for a little bit of crunch, or we like to toast sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds and things like that. And then all you need is a sharp knife, keep that away from the kids, your peeler, you got your spoon to start off with your oil and onion and celery, etc., and then your soup label. So they're kind of the only instruments that you need, and then also you'll get yourself some bowls so you can chop up your veggies and get started. Okay, so here we are making our delicious, healthy veggie soup. We use a really good quality olive oil, and we pour that in. You want to get quite a lot of that in. I'd already put a little bit in there, but that's looking really good. We're also going to add in some butter, but what I want to do first is I want to add in the garlic and the onion, because it really helps get the flavour into the food. As you can see, those Fan's on, as you can see. It's nice and hot. Putting in the onion, getting that into a nice caramelized. Onions are such a fantastic food. They're very nutrient dense, full of amazing nutrients, vitamins, antioxidants, quite antibacterial. Garlic is amazing at fighting off infections, whether it is bacterial, virus related. You always want to have garlic, especially now we're coming into winter. Even if you're not in winter, you'll have a lot of garlic. Have it raw too if you can. Now I'm going to put in the butter. We use grass-fed butter. You can get grass-fed butter from any of your supermarkets. So next we want to put in the leek, because leek actually does take quite a while to cook. But all you really do need is some onion. But if you've got leek, that is a wonderful asset to it as well. Just gives it a really nice depth of flavour. We're making up a big pot here, and that's what I recommend that you all do. Make up a big pot, which you can then keep some in the fridge and some in the freezer. And the reason I really recommend you do that is this kind of vegetable soup, it actually gets nicer in flavour in the days following. So we're going to cook this for a few minutes. Let all the flavour infuse. So next we're going to add in the celery, and celery is another vegetable that does take a while to cook, and it really works well if you can get it in early and cook it in with your garlic and onion, and obviously leek if you have it. Smell of those lovely flavours coming up now. Okay, so we're going to put the carrots in next. Just add those in. Give a nice sweetness. And because we're cooking a winter soup, you want to add in some winter herbs. Now we would normally have some time. We're still waiting for our delivery, which is very much the ISO life, but I love essential oils. So we've got a thyme here. So we're just going to add in a drop of that. But if you've got actual thyme, you want to add in a sprig or two of that now. And then I'm going to add in some basil as well, which is always a good round herb to have. So I'm adding a drop of that, and then I'll add in some of our fresh herbs from the garden, our basil at the end. And while these wonderful veggies are cooking, this is a good time as well to add in a little bit of turmeric. Turmeric is an amazing herb. It's one of my favourites. Gives a nice flavour. It's one of those that you can add to almost anything. It's not really strong. It doesn't necessarily have to be added to an Indian curry. You can add it to a veggie soup like this. You can see that the onion and leek are starting to become more sheer in texture. Just leave those for a little bit. And it's a good time now to add in some of your first seasoning. Putting in some Himalayan salt, which I really love. And I'm also going to put in some Celtic sea salt, which gives it a really nice flavour. You can never have enough seasoning, but the way you check the seasoning is to add a bit, taste, add a bit, until you get the right flavours. Bit of pepper. Don't want to add too much pepper if you're cooking for kids, because they don't tend to like it so much. So you can add pepper and chili flakes or any of those sorts of things at the very end. If you've got kids and you want a little bit more of a punch. Okay, that's really starting to come together now. Turn this off now. Okay, so now it's time to add in sweet potato. But really, it's what's so great about a veggie soup is you can just add in whatever you've got, really. And it always slightly changes the flavour. Now we're going to mix in cauliflower. Don't always put cauliflower in, but cauliflower is a very underrated food. It's actually got pretty much every mineral and vitamin you can think of. And unbeknownst to many people, it's actually really high in vitamin C. And I probably should note here that all of these vegetables have vitamin C in them. We're going to be adding tomatoes soon, and tomatoes actually have, one tomato would give you 40% of your vitamin C needs for the day. And vitamin C is up there with zinc in being one of the most important things that you can have during this time where you're keeping your immune system strong. Okay. This is a good time as well to maybe add a little bit more spice. And now that we've got all of our veggies we're using today besides the tomato, we're going to put in some oregano. All right, it's a good amount of oregano. It's always good to get your spices in at this time because it really infuses into the vegetables. Okay, but now it's cooking quite intensely and we're getting a little bit of browning there on the onion, which is actually quite good, but it is time now to put in our tomatoes. So we're actually using a tin of organic tomatoes. Now tomatoes, aren't they rich in vitamin C? They're actually a fruit, but because of their texture, they're labelled a vegetable. Okay, so that's looking good. We've got some brown on those onions, which is really nice. Okay, so now we're going to add in our veggie stock. And I've showed you before that I make up my own veggie stock, so then we've now put it in this. Just pour a little bit at a time. Mix in all the flavours. So I'm making a really big pot today. This is about 2 litres of stock. But, I still think even if you're just cooking for one, why not just make up a big batch? So we do want to bring it to the boil, which yes, it is going to the boil now. So you bring it to the boil and then you can simmer it for a while. Okay, so the soup's been cooking now for around 30 minutes. You've got to stir, sort of every 5 minutes or so, give it a stir. But that is looking good. Tasting it, seeing what else it needs. I gave this a little taste before and I think it just needs, this sometimes just gives it a little pep. So just give it a little splash of Worcestershire sauce. And then these natural nutritional flakes. Parmesan's great too, and you can sprinkle some parmesan on the end, but this is like a vegan parmesan. Gives it a lot of nice flavour, but if you've got parmesan, that's fantastic too. And then putting some on the end, on at the end as well. That's looking really good. So you can give this a blend. So, you can either make it a soup like this, which, let me get my ladle, which has the chunky vegetables, which I actually really enjoy. But then Brad, my husband, prefers it sort of smoother, so we might do a little mix of the two. Just give it a little blend. You will splash a bit with this, that's fine. Now, if you don't have a blender, you can put it in a food processor, you can put it in a NutriBullet, put it in a Thermomix, or you can just have it chunky. It doesn't really matter. But this is how we're going to have ours tonight. So it's going to be a mix. It's sort of got some of the vegetables still in there. Okay, so then you get a bowl like so. I would always get a bigger bowl. These are great for noodle soups and things as well. But it's such a healthy soup. Why not have a good sized portion? And that's one of the great things about having sort of a healthy soup like this is you can actually have quite a lot. It's very filling. All that fibre really does fill you up, surprisingly. I haven't done that as neatly as I would have liked. Okay, so you've got your soup there. And then you can always add a little bit of extra salt in if you want. Might just add a little tiny bit more salt in. Get some of the basil off our basil plant. Actually, before I do that, I'm actually going to put some pesto. So I do make my own pesto, but this is a great one too. This is like a vegan pesto. put in a chunk of that, which you can then mix around or just keep on top like that. Okay, so we've got our pesto in there, the basil, a little bit more basil. Just get a bit of extra flavour. You can put parmesan and things like that. I'm trying to be fairly vegan at the moment, although I do have some butter on my amazing sourdough, and I've decided to go for that rather than the quinoa, chickpeas, that sort of thing. Depends what you're into, but it's a great soup that can be adapted for different members of the family or different occasions. Some people just want to have the soup on their own. It's that tasty. But I am going to add just a few of these sunflower seeds. These are activated. Could toast them as well, but just to give a little bit of crunch there on the top. And there you have it. Brady's famous veggie soup. So I hope you'll enjoyed this recipe. You can sort of download the link and get all the ingredients that you need and follow me along if you like. There'll be plenty more of these to come, and I hope you really loved it. And if you really enjoy the meal, then make sure to join us on one of our 30-day Mojo Detoxes. Thanks for watching.